And here the problems are. Costs, as we all know, are too high, and they're rising too fast. Average health care for a retiring couple up 50% from just 7 years ago. So what are we getting for all that money that we are spending? Well, the U.S., in fact, the biggest spender on health care of any nation in the world, according to the WHO, and yet we rank 37 in health care quality, according to the World Health Organization's most recent survey, which puts us on a par with Slovenia and Costa Rica. Now, nothing against Slovenia or Costa Rica, but considering that we did invent electricity, the light bulb, telephone, automobile, airplane, and the internet, you'd think we could figure out a pretty efficient way to get health care to everybody. We spent $2.4 trillion on health care last year alone. That is double what other major industrialized nations spend per capita, and yet 50 million people don't have any health insurance whatsoever. We pay for it. Everybody gets health care. It's just not everybody pays for health care. And here are some of the big problems as we see it. I'm going to go through these with Ed, along with Robin, and then hopefully we're going to get Lawrence O'Donnell in here, who was the chief of staff for the Senate Finance Committee under the Clinton health care reform. So he knows the numbers. He'll be good for the conversation. But come out to the table with me, if you would, for a second. This is the big biggie, and you're going to hear a lot about this. Here you're going to hear a lot about what's called rationing with Dr. Nancy Snyderman as well. What does this mean? Rationing basically means as we get more and more technology that we can do more and more things for more people like Ed, like myself, like you, there's a fundamental belief that everybody in America, and it's an understandable one, should be entitled to the best possible care. However, that doesn't address the fact that as you try to spend that amount of money on people who are 80, 90, 100 years old, and we'll talk about this, Ed, there's a point where you got to get into pulling the plug. No more treatment. It's too expensive. You'll argue me no, and we'll come back to that, but that's one of the problems. Number two, doctor and patient abuse of the system. Doctors and hospitals that overprescribe, overtest, too many MRIs, too many prescriptions, too many doctor's office visits. These sorts of abuses, and this is the sort of thing that Robin Hanson is going to talk about, are a plague upon our healthcare system, as is patient abuse, where people learn about a drug and they come in, they say, oh, please, doc, give me this, give me that. We talked about this with Howard Dean and Nancy Snyderman earlier. Until we deal with both patient abuse and doctor abuse, I think it is unfair to the U.S. taxpayer or U.S. corporations to be asked to pay for a system that is as inefficient as this system is.